Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Thrilled to be back here with another reader of my latest book who has been gracious enough to join me for a live interview where we talk about their thoughts on the book and how they're taking action in their business. So I have with me today Janice Porter, and she is a LinkedIn trainer and host of the Relationships Rule podcast, which she was kind enough to invite me on, and that aired last week. And she actually left a review on Amazon, one of the 150 reviews. Yes, 150 reviews that have been posted. I'm so grateful to my launch team for helping make that happen and help me reach #1 in 6 Amazon.com categories, 2 Canadian and 1 Australian. So here is her review. She says, Robbie's book, Small List, Big Results, has so much value for entrepreneurs who want to grow their businesses through relationship building. She should know. It makes so much sense. There are proven strategies with step-by-step instructions, which I loved, and easy to follow. And always a story to illustrate each strategy. Now to read it again and implement. I love that ending. Welcome, Janice.
Thank you so much, Robbie. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I love talking to you.
Oh, yeah, this is awesome. I'm so glad we connected. We are clearly cut from the same cloth when it comes to relationships. I love your show. I love the fact now more people will know about Relationships Rules podcast. So tell me about your initial sort of high level reaction to this book, because you learned about this when you reached, when we were connected around doing a show together. And it was Marie and Contraire, if I remember correctly, who made that happen. So thank you, Marie.
Yes, thank you, Marie.
So what was your sort of high level reaction to the book?
Well, my first thought was I loved the title because I was one of those people that I think have a small list. Now, it's not as small as anybody, as some people may think, but for me, I felt it was small, and it made it feel like you were talking to me. And there were some things in the book that I went, oh, good, I've done this, or yes, I get this. But what I loved mostly at a high level was that not only did you write the information, but you did step-by-step instructions on things. And that's what I loved.
Yeah, I do think stories are good for illustration. And we just lost your camera, by the way, Janice. I'm not sure what happened on your end.
I did nothing. Oh, my
Let's
goodness.
see if we can get it back.
Okay,
we'll take you out and then we'll put you back in. Nope, that didn't work either. Well, let's see if we can. I'll come on here by myself while we sort of figure out whether we can get your camera back on. Oh, look at that.
There you go. I pressed a button. I don't know what happened.
The beauty of live. So,
sorry.
So I love illustrating with stories, but I do know that stories alone don't help people take action, right? That people do need some step-by-step. But the reason that mindset was the beginning of the book, and I'm sure you have a lot of experience working with people around this as well, that just having a list of steps that still does not always mean action. Like there's a lot of mindset junk in there. So, what struck you in that section of the book in particular?
Yeah, so absolutely. I already will be honest enough to say to you, I haven't actually done the steps that I want to take yet because I'm at this busy time of year for me. And I'm like, okay, January, new project. And that's something you talk about in your book too, about goal setting and what your big goal and your smaller goals for the quarter and so on. And I'm like, oh, I don't think that way, but maybe that's a really good place to start. Honestly, I'm not the big goal setting person, but mindset and focus is where it was the message that came through to me that I need to really look at. And then the practicality of, what is it? 80% of the people in your network, you're already connected and have a relationship with. So I need to go back and, as you say, wake up your network.
Yeah, I have this belief. It's not based on science, folks. It's just a gut instinct. And everyone so far says, yeah, that makes sense. I believe you've already met 80% of the people you need to know to be successful. That we're thinking about like a network. It's not so much about adding lots and lots and lots of people. It's about going back to people who you already have that know, like, and trust with and reaching out to them. I loved earlier you said that it really felt like I was speaking to you, just even starting with the title. And I don't know if you know this, but the title morphed quite a bit Do you
I
know the
do. I've
story?
heard
Yeah.
you. Yes, you've told that story. I think you told it on my podcast as well. It was a
Yeah.
great story, and feel free if you want to
Well, no,
share
I
it.
just think it's really helpful that I'll tell you that the end result of that story is I'm not my ideal reader and I'm not my ideal client. And so it made sense that, what my first gut instincts didn't line up with what readers' expectations were. And I'm so glad I paid attention to it because what you just said to me, like, oh, I really felt like you were speaking to me, even just starting with the cover, that that doesn't happen by accident. The content I had worked really hard on, I had collaborated with people, I had co-created it. It wouldn't have mattered how good the content was if the cover, if the title didn't speak to people. So I love that you say that because it makes me feel good because I took the time to
To do
workshop
that.
that with people and figure that out. Yeah, and I was sort of like, it was funny because I was like, that's not what I would have picked. And I ended up loving all the choices, but it just isn't where I went initially.
Well, I will share with you that I never really wanted to write a book. I was more the talker than the writer. And so I went the podcast route, and I'm
Mhm.
loving having a podcast. But
Yeah.
one of the things that I took from your story about how you got the title from your book, and probably with other things that you do as well, is that I need to talk to the people in my world, like my list, my past clients, before I pull out this next project, which I want to do, because maybe I'm on the right track, maybe I'm not, but
Mhm.
maybe I better ask them. And that's what I learned from your book.
I love that, and that will save you so much time, and you'll get
Mm,
early validation, or you'll get the early warning signs that maybe you shouldn't dive in and do more with it. Like,
exactly.
both of those are winning, actually.
Well, they are, because, I've experienced the opposite. I created something and put it out there, and I didn't really launch it properly either. And so it's sitting there not doing anything. So I learned the hard way as well, as I'm sure we all do.
So, folks, we're talking about my latest book, Small List, Big Results: Launch a Successful Offer No Matter the Size of your email list, which is still available for a low price this week. So, we're still part of the launch. It's $1.99 for the ebook. And folks have been asking me about the paperback. And I I'm getting some pressure. There was actually a petition to get me to release the paperback sooner. So stay tuned because that pressure is working. And there might be a surprise announcement soon about when that paperback comes out. Because I let it slip that it was ready. And it's the kind of book I'm told that people like to like underline and highlight and
Yes,
turn the
yes.
corner and write in margins. So
Yes, and that's so true, Robbie, because I've got it on my Kindle, and it's bugging me because I can't physically hold it. So I did this once with someone that was on my podcast, and he sent me his book, his digital version, and I said to my husband, "Would you mind just running that off on the whatever printer at work?"
yeah.
He brings this document home. It was like this big, and I went, "I don't think that was a good idea, actually." So the book would be great, Robbie.
Yeah, well, the link right there is paperback petition is the end of the link.
Okay.
So, uh, but what's funny about this is I have now met a handful of people that when I get on a call with them, they actually show me a 3-ring binder. They like went to
Oh,
Kinko's and they bound the PDF.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
it's going to be that or the book, one or the other.
well, the
So,
paperback is coming. So, well, I'll save
okay,
people a
I'll
trip
wait.
to Kinko's or we're not. So,
Okay.
um, so you talked about the 12-week sprints. And I had an interesting conversation yesterday with someone about the 4 weeks in between. It's not 4 weeks of not working. It's 4 weeks of just some focused effort on different other aspects and taking a break and having some catch up and close the loop time. And you're not someone who normally does planning like that, but do you have it sounds like you've got some big projects that you do have kind of on the horizon. And now you have a plan to reach back out to some folks and have a conversation. Um, are you gonna like map that out? Is that gonna be part of your January? Is that kind of where you're headed now with this?
I kind of feel I have to. I feel I'm at a crossroads where I need to make some changes to my website or get a
Mm,
new one. Then I need to get a funnel going for this new thing that I want to do. But again, I'm not wanting to rush into it. I want to understand which is the right way to go. And, who knows? I mean, everyone wants to take your money. So you have to go with your gut, right? You have to go with, I don't want to spend a fortune here because I want the work to be in the right place. I want the money to be spent in the right place to make things flow more easily. But yes, so I think first quarter, that's sort of my idea of
Yeah.
trying to map it out.
And have conversations with some of your likely prospects and past clients and
Yes.
get a better understanding of even just the language they're using about this right now and what
So
would
here's a
resonate.
question for you, if I
Mhm.
may. Would
Please.
you recommend, because I know I could send a survey out, by email or monkey, whatever this survey monkey or something like that. But what I'm being drawn to do is pick up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But that takes longer,
Yep.
but maybe I only do a portion of people that way. What would you recommend?
So as I outlined in the book, I didn't address this in the book, but I don't recommend the survey route because you're not going to really get a good sense of the urgency behind those answers. So it may lead you down the wrong path, particularly if you write questions that are leading questions. How concerned are you? And then people say very, so you want to be careful of that because we're not all trained in how to create those kinds of questionnaires that,
Right.
is neutral. And then what the book is saying is you want to look through a list of people, let's say your LinkedIn list, just for starters.
Yeah.
And you are identifying first people that would recognize your name and you would love to hear from out of the blue. And that is just putting an X in the consider column. Then you're going to sort of organize and prioritize them based on their connection to you, their influence in the world, and their interest in whatever it is you want to be talking about. And based on those answers, you end up with people who are likely prospects, likely referral partners. Some of those are fellow experts. Coffee chats where people you're just so thrilled to see their name, even though they isn't right timing. Like you just want to say hi to them. And then you can put a Z in the column that you previously had an X for people that you're going to like snooze for now, but like you'll get back to them maybe at another point when you have something different to talk about. And from that smaller list, you only want to find 20, 25 people to talk to over the next 6 weeks, max 12 weeks if you want to go kind of slow at it. But it could take 3 weeks to figure out who you want to reach out to and 3 weeks to schedule those calls. And now you're going to have all this information. My preference would be to do Zoom because you can get transcriptions automatically.
Right.
And in the book, I talk about that so many times that my editor said, "You're repeating this." And I said, "I know. It's really important. Don't forget to hit this. Don't forget to hit record." So from the transcripts, you want to look for problem language. And you want to do that within a day of having the conversation so you still remember the tone and the urgency or the emotion. And anytime someone says something with any kind of emotion, you just want to do a little digging, like, tell me more about that. And it's not that you're calling them to pitch your idea, because then you're narrowing the conversation.
Oh, again, my camera
We've
went.
lost your camera again.
It's just going by itself, honestly.
Oh, there it comes back. There we go.
I am so sorry.
That's okay. But just you want to have time to talk to people and ask them questions and really be learning, not leading, but learning. And that's where you'll find out whether there's maybe a need for this.
And that's where I want to reread the chapters in the book, because that was the biggest thing for me, was that aha moment was about that list and of going through, what did we call it? What did you call it?
Wake up your network.
Yeah. Wake up your network. And that to me was my big aha. And I think in my gut, when I just said to you about the survey monkey, I don't think that's what I wanted to do. I sort of knew that I wanted to talk to people. I just thought, wow, maybe it's a bit much. But
well, it'll whatever amount of time and energy you put into this will serve you well, because those people will either become the pilot members of whatever you create, or if they're not a good fit, they're still feeling like they invested something in what you created, and they're more likely to then make referrals because they feel like they contributed to the outcome of this. So they'll introduce you to someone else. So you're building a runway for something to take off rather than building it all in your own head then needing a helicopter instead of a plane to like take the idea up into the stratosphere. So I think all of that is really great for relationship building. You're nurturing connections, you're learning. And rather than like a lot of us have gone through the process of like build an entire course with videos and everything, and then we're like, why did no one buy this? So time well spent.
Your book is full of things like that. And if I may, I would also say that I was so impressed with the launch process. That was the other thing. Oh my goodness. You didn't miss a trick.
Thank you.
No.
I'm just I'm running a little scroll right now to let people know that with the book comes a free resource called the Big Results Toolkit. And you can get that when you go to get the ebook, which is only $1.99 right now.
Right.
But what you're talking about is also really interesting, which is you've got experience with launches. You've witnessed people get their books out into the world. Yeah. What were your thoughts about the launch process?
Oh, it was amazing because number one, everything was well laid out in the emails that came about what you would like us to do and about the review and the free information that you provided, the value that you added along with the book, and you made it fun as well. And then I think you had I was on one of the calls that you did as the launch party, and I was on that for a while, and that was fun. And just everything you did was very well thought out, impressed me so much. I've never seen that before. And it got you results. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's something for that to say for that.
So one of the things we did, this is different from my first book. I followed some of the similar patterns, but here's things that I added. Everyone got access to the advanced copy October 5th. Anyone who had signed up
Right.
by that point. October 12th, we had a librarian-led book club discussion. So it gave people a reason to dig into the PDF or the ebook before that week was up, as opposed to it just being added to a library of to-dos. And then we opened up the mic during the librarian-led book club discussion and invited people to come on air and share their reactions to things. So even people who hadn't read the entire book started to get a real sense of, this is a book I should be reading right now. And then the reviews were due to us via a Google form a few days later. So that really helped kickstart the reviews coming in because people were really kind of digging into the book as a community. So that's just something I think a lot of people can pay attention to. And we are going to be offering a free book launch debrief masterclass in December. And it's only open to people who are on my launch team.
Awesome.
I won't even say it's only open to people who write a review and post it on Amazon, because I'm not paying people to write reviews for Amazon. But if you're willing to get on my launch team, then I'm willing to invite you into the process behind the scenes about how we did that, because there are several things I think other people can take for either a book or a podcast or even a product launch or an offer of some kind that maybe they're not thinking about. Yeah. It's quite the experience. I call it polite persistence. I assume that when you make an intention, it's you really want to follow through. If I can support you in doing it, you'll feel good and I'll feel good.
Yeah, no, it's the first time I'd experienced that, and it felt like it kept me on target to do what I said I was going to do. And I don't like not doing what I said I was going to do. Right. So it definitely did. And I got it in and on time and, so on. So I felt good about that.
And then you went, yes, I did it. You patted yourself on the back.
Yeah, no, it just felt good to support somebody else, really,
I've been on like 50 book launches at least, because I have at least 50 reviews that I posted on Amazon. And almost all of them, I get one request. And that's the last thing I hear from them. Yeah. And I put it dutifully into my notebook. And then I stopped forgetting, remembering. I transferred over several days, and then the note gets shorter. And I'm like, whose book is this? Oh, a review to somebody who's married. It's like, and they don't remind me. They don't follow up. They don't give me deadlines. They don't give me a way to they don't support or nurture me through the process. And that becomes this to-do item that I feel like, oh no, now it's making me feel bad. And then I suddenly remember them in the middle of the night. It's like, because I want to follow through. I'm like, I said yes. I want to help people.
Yeah. And isn't that the way follow-up is too? People follow up once, maybe twice, and then they're gone.
And they're gone.
Yeah. And you wonder why, right?
So this weekend, another part of the book launch is that it's actually leading into an offer. Yes.
Yes.
And so, and I have been, like Janice, incredibly transparent about this from the get-go, because I don't understand why people aren't. Because I'm like, you all should understand how we're doing this, because you could do this too. So
this is business, right? This is business. Yeah.
I know. So there's a free big results training this weekend. It's 2 hours a day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, where I'm going to dive into the mindset and strategies that are in the book to kind of unpack them a little bit and help people see how this could be applied to their business. So it's another reason to take some action, reading the book, and maybe downloading the toolkit. And maybe we're starting to work on the Wake Up Your Network workbook. So I'm trying to, I think, giving people some deadlines, knowing they're going to be in small groups. We're going to do some breakout rooms because, you know, I know virtual events. So we will produce this pretty well. But it's been really fun to pull this together with my team. And then we do have an offer that we're going to be talking about on Sunday. And I don't even care if people don't think they're a good fit for the offer. I want everyone to come anyway, either to get the content, which I think is very accessible to a lot of types of businesses, but also to witness on a meta level ethical selling, right? What does it look like to bring people to an offer without funneling them, squeezing them? All the language we use is like very lacking agency. And I'm like, I'm inviting and offering. That's kind of, I think you get this. This is who we are, right?
I totally do. Exactly. I can't be that person that doesn't feel right. So yeah, you have to do it right.
It actually, I will say, prevented me from doing launches like this for many years because I was witness to and a part of so many launches that were very formulaic and they were very effective, I will say, but they just didn't feel like me. And so this has been fun to figure out like how to play with some of that and expand some of that and bring people along for the journey. So this is really, I'm so glad we're getting a chance to talk about this. Is there anything else about the book that you wanted to highlight? Because we talked about a few of the items in there. Was there something else that we didn't get a chance to mention?
I wanted to go back. I've got it up here in front of me.
You have your notes.
Yeah, I just I want to get back here just a second. No, I think I was I was very much made to look at where my weaknesses are. I will say that, and the fact that I need to survey my people, but in my way, not in somebody else's way. And because it's funny, I was talking to a marketer this morning who was talking about me sending out a survey, and I knew it wasn't the right way to do it for me. So, and the other piece that was really, for me, really good was connect with influencers and up level your network.
Yeah.
Right. I really liked that whole piece. And that's another piece I have to dig back into because I think it's important to, it's gone again. I don't know why it keeps going. I mean, I've not done anything.
Well, hopefully it comes back. There we go.
Yeah. It's important to up level your network because it takes you to new places and different things and gives you an opportunity to influence more yourself. Right. I don't know. It's just, I love it. I love talking to new people. So why not up level my network?
For me, I have a story in the book that really, I think, begins this journey, at least this chapter of the journey. It was when my podcast launched and I went to the National Speakers Association conference thinking I'll invite some people and then realize everyone will say yes. They're all speakers. They like a stage. So I set my sights very high. I set very like strict, criteria of who I would invite. And the quality of the guests on my show went from like local leaders to like people with national acclaim. And it really changed who I could then invite after that. Because they would see colleagues. And so I started to really figure out like, how do I connect with people that know people? And so that anytime I invite somebody into my network now, I want us already have some connections. Like that's generally, for a lot of those spaces. So I think that with a little effort, you could do this very well. I mean, this is definitely a knack that you have. It's just about being strategic, I guess, about how you're thinking about building those networks.
Exactly. I have found that one person will introduce me to somebody, and that has opened like a door of 5 or 6 people that I believe have upped the level for me of my podcast. And then I'll speak to someone else who I don't mind if they're just local because I like them. And I'll just, I want to pick their brain or talk to them and share their, give them some opportunity to meet a new audience. But I do think that I need to be more strategic about that and that influence of the network and look at my podcast the way you have looked at your book launch and start to up level that in a different way. So Yeah.
So I want to let you know that someone reached out to me. I'm just looking to see if I could find it. Liz DeDeerer.
Yes, I know her.
She reached out to me because she heard me on your show and
Oh,
sent me a connection request on LinkedIn. And whenever I get one, I always send back a note. But she introduced herself. She said that's how she found me. And so once the hubbub of my launches dies down, we're gonna have a chat because she seems like my kind of people, like our kind of people.
yeah.
So
She's been on my podcast.
yeah. So already you can see like these
Yeah.
ripple effects that
Yeah.
that
Oh, I love that.
happen. Yeah.
That's great. That's really great. It's nice to hear when somebody has actually heard, other stories
And
on
then
my
taking
podcast.
action, right? They're like,
Yes.
oh, like clearly and then they didn't hesitate. I think so many times people think about that and then don't do it. Clearly Liz is a person who knows relationship
Oh,
building very
she's a
well.
character. She's
So
a
she's
character.
not going to slow down. She's going to reach out. But I think a lot of times people do hesitate about
Yeah.
reaching out, particularly to someone they think of as an influencer or having
Mhm.
having some sort of following. But we're all people.
I
and
know. I
and we're
know.
content creators. We crave people letting us know how things are.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I love that you got a chance to share about my my launch. I love that you shared the review on Amazon. Thank you for your active participation. I love that you're now part of my community. And I want to give you a chance to let people know where people can find you and follow you because you've got some really interesting things going on.
Oh, thanks, Robbie. So my website is janiceporter.com, and people can find me there and they can see what I do by looking at the pages on my website. I also have a podcast called Relationships Rule, and please listen and see what you like and let me know. And I'm also a LinkedIn trainer, and it all ties in together to relationship marketing because that's who I am. And
Yes,
that's it. Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, thanks everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.